Space, the final frontier, man's greatest dream, ever just out of arm's reach. A mysterious glowing meteor hurtling towards a small green jewel with a force that could alter life as we know it. Hello again everyone, Dark here with another review. This time we'll be looking at the 2023 remake of a classic PS1 JRPG called Star Ocean: The Second Story R. Originally released in July of 1998, now remastered in 2023, we follow the journey of Claude C. Kenny and Raina Lanford. It's up to you entirely who you choose to start your foray into the world. Starting as Claude, you'll begin on the pan-galactic starship the Calnus, and be teleported down to a desolate planet named Milokenia with your father Ronix, the admiral of the ship and former protagonist of Star Ocean 1. A strange energy field has appeared on the planet, and you're tasked with investigating the cause. Upon touching the device emanating the field, Claude is teleported far off to a planet known as Expel in a part of space uncharted and foreign to the Federation of Earth. As Raina, you'll begin on Expel in her hometown of Arlia as she's leaving to go and explore the sacred forest despite her mother's protests. Upon entering the normally tranquil forest, Raina is caught off guard by a monster. This is where the two stories meet for the first time. As Claude, you'll jump into the battle and fight it off using your laser pistol. As Raina, you'll only see Claude use a mysterious light to destroy the creature. From here, you'll head to Arlia with Claude being mistaken as a prophetical hero of light due to his use of his advanced weaponry on an underdeveloped planet. From there, you're told about the Sorcery Globe, a mysterious meteor that crashed into the continent of El, and since its landing, earthquakes, natural disasters, and monster sightings have been occurring more and more frequently. Animals in areas once thought safe now transformed and overrun with monsters and bandits. Setting off alone, Claude goes on to investigate this strange world where monsters roam free and cold steel and mighty spells are the tools of survival in hopes of finding his way back home. The story is fairly basic, and despite the use of jargon, it's fairly easy to follow along with. It's a tale we've seen before, but it's executed well, so it doesn't feel stale. Graphically, SO2R is absolutely gorgeous. Originally a 2D sprite-based game with pre-rendered backdrops, everything has been meticulously recreated in 3D, apart from the characters and enemies themselves. Rivers flow gently, the shade of the trees give way to small pockets of light in the forest, and magical effects will make every battle a carnival of chaos at every single turn. While newer players may find it off-putting to see 2D sprites instead of normal 3D models in a fully 3D environment, I'll happily say that it does work well, and the characters do still manage to convey a good range of emotion despite their limited pixel count. A noticeable issue I found was the draw distance was rather lacking despite my settings being completely maxed out. This is very noticeable in Arlia, but in later areas it isn't as apparent, but it's also not enough to detract points from everything else. All your major characters have had fresh new portraits made just for this game, but if you'd like to see what they looked like in their original PS1 and PSP remake styles, the option is there to view them in the party menu. Now, a personally missed feature here is the world map. If you've played any JRPGs from the early era of the Nintendo and PS1, you'll know nearly every RPG and JRPG had a world map to explore with your party. Towns and dungeons dot the map along with all manner of biomes and treasures. SO2R's world map is absolutely gorgeous and gives off a great sense of scale despite your characters typically being animated to be larger than most towns. Castle towns sprawl out and over their moats, the ocean glistening in the sunlight, skyscraper-sized mountains reaching hungrily for the sky, and other wonderful sights I unfortunately can't show or tell of here for sake of spoiling the game. 3D cutscenes are sparse, but when used easily stand shoulder to shoulder with modern JRPGs in my humble opinion. One quirk they have about them, however, is during these cutscenes monsters and any characters that may be in them are still in their 2D sprite version, which may look a little off at first, but it's so rare that it's a non-issue and doesn't really break immersion from the game's universe. Upon starting the game, you're given the option to choose what voice and music you'd like to hear, and this is changeable in-game as well. You have 3 sets of voices to choose from. You have 1 English dub and 2 Japanese dubs. The first Japanese and English dubs are pulled straight from the PSP remake, and the second Japanese option is the original cast of the PS1 reprising their roles and doing a new recording of the dub. The voice acting, at least for the English dub, can be a bit cheesy or hit or miss depending on your tolerance. It was a relic of its time. There are many moments where the voice actor is going to overperform or underperform in a given scene to the point of it being almost comical. For music, you have the newly arranged tracks for this remake as well as the original music. But no track in the game was ever irritating or bad, but unfortunately none of them stuck with me very well after closing the game, despite some of them being generally really good. Past that, most of the sound effects are pretty good. Spells have a nice chunky hit sound to them. The weapons you normally can't hear very well, unfortunately, once you start getting spells, because the spells are going to overtake most of the sound and screen space. Moving on to the undeniably deepest and thickest meat of the game, we have a classic-style JRPG with a twist. Like its younger siblings, SO2R doesn't have random encounters, but rather you see the enemy represented by one of 3 color-coded floating orbs with eyes. Green means the enemy is weak compared to you and will not actively pursue you unless a certain criteria is met that I'll discuss in a minute. Purple indicates that the enemy is on par with you in your current strength, and red indicates that the enemy is much stronger than you, though I've never seen that during my playthrough. Should you make contact with the orb or it touches you, the battle will begin, and the game will transition to an arena set and theme to the area you made contact in. All the arenas are mostly the same, however, with little to no variation besides theme. Combat is conducted in real time, with the game only pausing if you decide to pull up a menu to use an item or spell. Mechanically speaking, combat is very simple. You have basic attacks, a dodge that makes you invincible when pulled off correctly and even restores your MP while weakening the foe's shield meter, and 2 special attacks you can equip before battle. Dodging, hitting, and special attacks will slowly whittle down the enemy's shield meter, eventually causing a break. Once broken, the enemy is dazed and open to massive amounts of damage with no threat of retaliation until it refills, giving you a good few seconds to go wild and get as many orbs as possible to fill your own bonus gauge up to give you an even greater edge in battle. This gauge is customizable as well, with different formations you can choose and unlock as the game progresses. This can be anything from stat boosts, more experience in fold, the game's currency, and even faster escapes. To counter these great buffs, if a character you control should get killed in battle or fail a dodge, the meter will shatter, and you'll have to start it back over from 0. A missed dodge will result in you being broken and susceptible to the same punishment as the enemy, though that's the only way to be broken as the player. Winning battles grants you XP in full, but you'll also get 2 more types of experience called BP and SP, which we'll delve into shortly. Out of the 3 difficulties available to you, Earth and Galaxy don't require you to completely master the dodge mechanic, and you can mostly just mash your way through. On Universe, however, the game doesn't hold back, and getting one-shot by a normal enemy is to be expected, so learning how to kite and dodge properly is an absolute must. One thing that SO2R undeniably has is an ocean of content to delve into. Starting from the top, you have chain battles where you line up as many as 5 enemy orbs to queue up 5 back-to-back battles. You then have leader battles where one enemy is shown larger than the others, with a special icon to match, and causes a special condition during battles that ranges anywhere from your team taking constant HP damage, to slowed movement, and even no spell usage at all until they're dropped. It's not all one-sided though, as breaking the leader's shield will send out a shockwave that will break the shields of all nearby enemies, with it giving you time to get rid of him or remove his minions. The last battle type are raids, which for late game reasons I can't show here. These are souped up post-game beasts that will completely obliterate your party if not prepared. Some can be taken out on early in the game, but require great dodging or kiting skills, coupled with patience and luck to beat at this stage. Are you still with me? Good. After your battling and leveling up, you'll earn BP and SP. BP stands for Battle Points, and will be your primary tool for getting faster movement speed in battle, the chance to ignore enemy defenses, and agility to guarantee hits, and even upgrading your special moves to be more effective and gain extra effects. SP stands for Specialty Skills, and this is where new players will feel lost and completely overwhelmed. These skills are for content outside of regular battles, but also play an active role in increasing your stats and gear. These are broken down into a 3-tier tree and can be leveled up to a maximum of level 10. You have the basic skills such as effort and determination that decrease the amount of XP you need to level up, and lowered cost for leveling skills respectively. Putting points into one or more of these skills can result in a specialty being unlocked, such as scouting. that allows you to change the number of enemies you see on the world map, either raising or lowering them as needed. The highest tier is called Super Specialties. These will normally require at least 4 of your party members to have at least 4 levels into a specialty. Supers like Blacksmithing allow you to craft new gear or even use Bodyguard that will have your party members run on the world map and automatically take out enemies for you while giving you XP in full without having to battle or even move. All these skills also add into other things to do in the game, such as pickpocketing, fishing, cooking, making your own items and gear, and even adding additional effects to gear you already have. Which, things like fishing have their own mini-game built in, which is fairly common. It's about the same as what you would experience in Animal Crossing or Persona 4. Whereas things like pickpocketing can give you access to powerful items way earlier than you're intended to have them, but this comes with the risk of losing friendship points with your party members, which can drastically affect the endings that you get. In addition to all these mechanics, you also have the ability to just farm items just by moving passively through the world, and even summon bunnies, which are the chocobo equivalent to Star Ocean. Using these bunnies, you can travel around the map with no encounters whatsoever. You can't be attacked or harmed until you decide to dismount, and even access parts of the map that you normally cannot reach, as well as gain treasures that you normally can't access. To backtrack just a little bit, friendship points will also come from what are called private actions that show up periodically throughout the game and have a special settings dedicated just to them. Anytime that you're in a town or any other safe area and you don't have a major story point currently happening, you'll have the option to switch to private mode, where your party will cease to follow you and will spread out throughout the town or area that you're in which case you can go and track them down and have a private moment with them, usually something to further develop their character or showcase how they interact with another party member, as well as build friendships with those characters. This is an excellent system in my opinion, as it allows you to just play through the game normally and speed through it if you would like, and gain just the minimal amount of character development that the story would expect, or if you want to delve even deeper and learn your characters inside and out and really see how they behave together, be it two scientists interacting or just Claude and Reina's relationship starting to bud and blossom. Not only do these actions build the friendship mirror which affects your endings, they can also lead you to different bits of experience and SP because of how the game tracks challenges, which are another great thing that I'll be going into in just a second. Between challenges that you can complete naturally throughout the game just by fishing or interacting with its systems, be it just combat, doing a set amount of damage, breaking a certain amount of shields in a single go, or even just spending money or making money. I finished the main story as Claude in just 34 hours, which for a JRPG is not too short, but definitely not as long as many of its successors and competitors would go on to become, with playtimes crossing into the 100+ hours territory easily, and that's hardly a bad thing. Grinding is highly encouraged and rewarded as all party members gain levels and experience. Even inactive members gain, so you can swap people in and out as you like, even if they start off under-leveled. Coupling this with how customizable characters can be thanks to the specialty system, and you've got a JRPG with a massive amount of replayability. And that's not even factoring in the 99, yeah, you heard that right, 99 possible endings you can have, the 11 different recruitable party members, 2 of which can only be recruited in Claude or Reina's story respectively, and the post-game content such as the series staple Maze of Tribulations, the raid monster battles, and a level cap of 255, plus all your specialties and battle skills being leveled to level 10 each. The only gripes I have are that Some endgame spells are cinematic and will freeze combat. While the cinematic can be skipped, it can break the pace of a fight badly when you have multiples of these spells going off both by your party and the enemy. The AI also can be very hit or miss for mages. Both your party and enemy mage AI can be very active, or just sit around and doing nothing seemingly at random. I've had quite a few battles where I was fighting for a few seconds and the enemy mage just stood there and didn't try to cast or move or interfere at all with the battle until I started wailing on them, and by that time they were gone. The game is pretty easy overall, especially if you're putting points into your specialties, but there are a few spikes that felt cheap, such as mages showing up as basic enemies that can easily one-shot your party even though they're marked as weak. Though this is alleviated by the game allowing you to retry the battle from the start and change your gear before the redo. Gameplay aside, the story does have some threads that are started but either don't go anywhere or are just forgotten entirely, though it doesn't affect the overall package as you'll likely forget about them yourself. But as a treat, the original game had Easter eggs referencing the Star Ocean 1 game, but the remake also includes more of them for series fans, such as summoning the protagonist from other Star Ocean games to help in battle with some seriously broken attacks that scale off whoever has the highest attack or intelligence in the party. Now, from anyone wanting to dip their toes into the JRPG genre, or series veterans looking for another notch to add to their belts, Star Ocean 2 Remake is well worth the asking price of $50 and continues to hold on to its title as one of the best games in the entire series and overlooked jewel of the PS1 era. But what do you think of the Star Ocean series? Have you ever played the original one or any of the later entries? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next review.